Welcome back to Moonlit TCG. Today I have a Bloomlord list. This is actually the same Bloomlord list that I played in the last set of replays, couldn't think of the word, that I uploaded to the channel. This is being recorded on Tuesday. So my locals was yesterday. I unfortunately do not have the replays from that locals. I didn't have time to get my camera set up or anything, or even grab it for that matter, just due to some personal stuff going on. So I won't have replays this week, but I should have enough deck profiles and things coming your guys' way to more than make up for that content, but replays should be coming back next week. So let's just get right into the card by card. This is the exact list that I have been playing with. There's some changes to it that I made, but not many, just using cards that I do have access to. So our eggs are a little weird. We are playing 2 Argomon. Argomon says when this Digimon becomes unsuspended during your unsuspend phase, gain 1 memory. So this is at 2. The only reason it is at 2 is because I only own 2. If I have 4 of these, I would play 4 of these. For our second egg, we are playing 2 Pinamon. Pinamon says once per turn, if you attack an opponent's Digimon, draw a card. So this is the other egg. Its effect actually does come up. So if you do have the other 2 Argomons, I suggest a 4-1 split, being 4 Argomon and 1 Pinamon. And for our level 4s, we are playing 4 Palmon from BT10. It says on play, reveal the top 4 cards of your deck, add 1 card with vegetation or plant in its traits, and 1 card with fairy in its traits among them to your hand. Rest go to bottom. So this literally searches everything in our deck, Bloomlord being the fairy target. Everything else is vegetation, so it's always going to be hitting at least 1 target. And then we are playing 4 of the Palmon from BT9. This is the Floodgate one that just says players can't play Digimon by card effects. Really good. It's a vegetation, so it's searchable, and we do have ways to play this for free. Then we are playing 3 copies of the Pinamon from EX3. Not Pinamon, Palmon from EX3, excuse me. And it says, your turn, when an effect suspends this Digimon, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. So this just lets us be able to suspend our opponent's things, let us swing into it, and even triggers Hydramon, so we can get more memory back, which is really nice. Then for the last level 3, we are playing 2 copies of Mushroomon. This is just a vanilla, that's a 2-drop, so it helps us memory choke our opponent. But usually this is the one we're going to use in back to level climb. For our level 4s, we are playing 4 Sunflowmon from BT10. It says when Digivolving, by suspending one of your green Digimon, you play 1 Digimon card with vegetation, plant, or fairy in its traits, with 3000 DP or less from your hand, without paying its play cost. So it lets us play all of our level 4s, including itself, and all of our level 3s, which is really nice. And then we are playing 4 copies of Red Vegemon. It's a 1 cost to Digivolve, and it is a 3k, so it can be played off Sunflowmon. And that's it, it's a vanilla. And then we are playing 3 copies of Weedmon from BT5. This card is a 1 cost to Digivolve as well, almost identical to Red Vegemon, except it's a 4 cost to hard play. And it does have the inheritable effect of when this card is trashed due to activating a Digimon's Digiburst, gain 1 memory, which can come up. In certain matchups, it will come up, because we are playing 1 card that does allow us to Digiburst. And it's there to make certain matchups better, and I will explain that when we get to that card. Next up, we're playing 4 copies of Cherrymon from BT10. It has the effect to Digizorb by 2, so rest something, so you Digivolve for 1. And then opponent's turn, when an opponent's Digimon attacks, you may change the attack target to one of your suspended Digimon. So oftentimes you'll redirect the attack to this, or your level 6s once you get there. I know some builds only play 2 to 3 of this, but I firmly believe this is a 4 of in this deck. It's just super good. It helps you control the board until you can get to the Bloomlord, and even if you can't kill the Bloomlord or the Hydramon, this is there to make sure that you are safe longer. Then we are playing 2 copies of Entmon from EX3. This is Digizorb 3, so it Digivolves for 1. And when digivolving, if you have 2 or more suspended Digimon in play, unsuspend this Digimon. So what this does, it's 8k, so it's going to live most checks. It helps us aggress more. Some people play the Blossomon, I don't. Even though digivolving for free is nice, I like this card better because it helps us aggress more. Sometimes I do want a 3rd copy of this, but I feel like 2 is perfectly fine for right now. And for our last level 5, we are only playing 7 of them. We play Agitarmon from BT10. So its main effect is once per turn, by suspending one of your green Digimon, you may play one Digimon with Vegetation, Plant, or Fairy in one of its traits, and 3k DP from your hand without paying its memory cost, which is really, really good. It's the same thing as Sunflamon. And then its inheritable is when an effect suspends one of your Digimon, you gain 1 memory. This does come up on occasion. It doesn't come up all that much, but that's why we play it. For the level 6s, we are playing 3 copies of Bloomlord Bond. Bloomlord Bond says when digivolving, you may suspend one of your Digimon, then gain 1 memory for every one of your suspended plant or fairy, vegetation, plant, or fairy Digimon. And then if you gain 2 or more memory by this effect, restand him and he has piercing. And then your turn effect is he gains security attack +1 and 2k for every 2 plants suspended. Plants, vegetation, or fairies. Very, very important distinction. So if you have, and this does include himself. So if you have 2, including him, he does 2 checks and he's 14k. If you have 4, including him, he's doing 3 checks at 16k, which is really, really good because just hitting multiple security checks on one guy is really, really nice, especially if you have the Cherrymon up. If you don't kill that turn, Cherrymon's there just to help you protect yourself for a little bit longer. Then we are playing 3 copies of Hydramon from EX3. When digivolving, suspend 1 Digimon. And all turns once per turn, when an opponent's Digimon becomes suspended, for each of your other plant, vegetation, and or fairy Digimon, you gain 1 memory. So he digivolves for X less, essentially. And then end of your turn, if you have 2 or more suspended Digimon with plant, vegetation, or fairy in their traits, bottom deck one of your opponent's suspended Digimon. So he's really, really good here. Basically, when you digivolve into him, you're bottom decking what you suspended. And then if they attack during their turn, you're gaining memory. He's basically an ice wall on legs. Okay, so we are playing 1 Nidhoggmon. This Nidhoggmon is here to help us with decks that go wide. So when digivolving, Digiburst 4, and by doing this, you suspend all of your opponent's Digimon with 5k DP or less, and place all of your opponent's suspended Digimon at the bottom of their owner's decks, which is really, really good. So against D-Brigade, you're going to bottom deck all their Commandramons. Jessmon, you're going to bottom deck all the Sistermons. Against Bloomlord, you're going to bottom deck everything that's not their level 5s. So this is just a really, really good card here. Then for options, we're playing 4 copies of Green Memory Boost. This helps us fix our hands, it gives us extra memory. It's really, really nice. It's really, really good when they just hit it in security, and then you just get it back for the memory when you don't necessarily need to search. Then we are playing 3 copies of Flower Cannon. So I was originally not on this. I had 2 copies of Mimi and Joe and Cannon here, but I decided to play the Flower Cannons. Because main, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon, this does come up. It helps us get into the Hydramon, it helps us out things by attacking directly into them. And then security is suspend all of your opponent's Digimon without blocker. There's not many blockers this format. The only deck that does play blockers are Commandramon with their 4-drop Commandramon, and Jessmon with the Sistermon that makes all of their Sistermons blocker. And Nidhoggmon is there to also help with that matchup. This does also help with that matchup, because if they don't have that Sistermon, you're just going to spend everything. And then for our next option, we play 2 copies of Samadhi Santi, and it says suspend one of your opponent's Digimon to suspend one of your Digimon to suspend one of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers. And that card does not unsuspend during their next turn, until the end of their next turn, which is really, really nice. Security effect is suspend one of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers. Really, really good. Helps us beat over things, helps us just bottom deck things with Hydramon. Then we are playing 1 copy of Grand Del Sol. It says when you would use this card, if you have 2 or more suspended Digimon in play, reduce the cost by 2, so it can play for 6 cost. main effect says suspend one of your opponent's Digimon, then return one of your opponent's suspended Digimon to the bottom of its owner's deck. So you can bottom deck things with this as well, just like Hydramon. And the security effect does the same exact thing. For Tamers, we are playing 2 copies of Ken Ichijoji. So it has the generic memory effect to set us to 3. And one of your green or blue Digimon deletes an opponent's Digimon battle and survives. Suspend this Tamer to gain a memory. I have this in here over Mimi because I've never had Mimi's effect come up, but I do have this effect come up to give us memory all the time. And against Madoki Betamon, I hate playing against memory blockers. Because you do play for very little memory in this deck, but it does come up where you need Bloomlord and Hydramon to give you more memory. And if they're on field, it becomes a little bit harder to do that. So having Ken help us mediate that is really, really nice. So that's the list. If there's anything you guys would change, let me know. Feel free to like, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.